What's up guys, it's Drac, and today we are reviewing the NERF Rival Challenger. But first, a word from our sponsors. Today's sponsor is Fume. So Fume is, in essence, a good way to break a bad habit. You know, while we all have bad habits, there's a particular one that this will help you kick. And much like Kumbaloi from my native country, there are a lot of ways to kind of take the good things from a habit, our rituals, our daily kind of tics, and turn them into something bad or good. Fume's goal is to ditch the ick while keeping some of the fidget using this nifty device. So this is the Fume Solano. I'll stop fidgeting with it like so and get it out of the package. So inside it says, welcome to the good side, a partnership made in heaven. Wow. It comes out like this, and here you have the device itself. Behind the device, you have what appears to be an instruction manual, cloth that you use to clean, and some stickers. The device itself is pretty fidget friendly. It's got magnets that control its actuation, and then this really neat little kind of ratcheting system, which is actually a functional part of it. In here you have a valve. That valve is adjusted by the spin, which determines how hard you have to pull air through it. And then inside is this kind of chamber here where you can add a flavor core. Cores come in a variety of flavors. I've got crisp mint, white cranberry, raspberry, orange vanilla, sparkling grapefruit, and maple pepper. For the purposes of our demo, we're going to try the crisp mint. It says that you'll have maximum flavor on day 1. On day 2 you have half. On day 3 you have left. So the half-life seems to be about 24 hours. Inside here it looks like the core itself is a plant-based, all-natural, specifically no nicotine kind of additive that would go in there, kind of line it up in such a way that you pull air through it because it's hollow. And then theoretically this is air you can taste. It's like having spearmint gum without anything to chew. Honestly, a very surreal experience that I'm sure would be very familiar to the target demographics. So in summary, huge thank you to Fume for sending this over. And you know, if you want a good partner in breaking your bad habit, they're offering 10% off to my viewers through the link in the description box below. That's tryfume.com/LordDraconical. With over 150,000 customers and thousands of success stories, it could help you be the next success in breaking that bad habit. Back to the toys. All right, so for $35 at my local Target, NERF Rival is back, baby. And you know, I've seen the memes, I've seen the jokes. It's a bolter from Warhammer. I don't actually see that as much, mostly because the blaster is very thin. A bolter is pretty chunky, and this thing is about as flat as Florida. But inside the package, you have a semi-automatic Rival blaster with a banana magazine that it comes with, 18 AccuStrike rounds. I assume that doesn't make any sense because the magazine only holds 12 rounds. Basically a Stryfe in terms of its Rival operation. A semi-automatic flywheel-powered blaster, trigger lock, trigger, rev trigger, full top rail, which is pretty nice, no stock attachment point, and a pseudo possibly in-strike barrel attachment. We'll see in a second. Bandolier hookups everywhere you could find them, as well as multiple places on the front to do a tactical light or laser. Most of the marketing claims on this are just that it comes with 18 rounds, it's a semi-auto blaster. Back here it says most accurate Rival rounds, which is, you know, a funky claim. We also get a sneak peek of the NERF Rival Mirage, which looks like an updated Apollo, kind of using this new Rival aesthetic. We've seen this before, but it'll be nice to get this guy out of the package and see what we're working with. Now, of course, 2 things need to happen for us to demo this blaster. 1, we need to get the rounds into the magazine, and then 2, this thing takes 8 AA batteries. It's time to just start including rechargeables in all of your products if that's the kind of voltage that you need to pull for a modern day Rival blaster. Come on, Hasbro. All right, so I can tell you already that it's a pity that I'm right-handed. This is not the side of the blaster that Hasbro wanted you to see. So we'll do them a courtesy. We'll come over here and we'll pretend that this blaster is symmetrical. So over here you got the motor pop out, obviously Rival cage, pretty flat profile on the blaster overall. So you need this to accommodate those motor cans. Over here you got your safety. That is a one-sided safety. You could reach it pretty easily though. You click back to activate, which is good because that's easier to do than push forward, at least for most people. Down here you got this rocker style mag release, and every time you do that with a full magazine, whatever was automatically chambered in there is gonna fall out via gravity. But if you're smooth like me, you can catch it with the same hand that you pulled the magazine out with. Anyway, over here you can see you got the jam door. This is if you have a jam in those Rival flywheels. This allows you to get in there and get after them. It does have a switch inside, so you'll note the revving stops until you click it back into place. Pretty slow rev up on this guy, but not the end of the world. A lot of the Rival blasters are that way. You would think with 8 AA batteries, it'd be a little more Johnny on the spot, but what are you gonna do? Blaster, like I said, is covered in this kind of new semi-industrial sort of skeleton look. Up here, you've got this adjustable sling point attachment. I guess you could hook it down there, sling it up like that on a bandolier. I will say the one place that you'd wanna slip a D-ring or a carb in is right here. This is an interesting new feature, spring-loaded in the back so that you could clip it onto something quickly and easily like so. I think that that is pretty sweet. So really dig that. Would love to see more of those features on kind of these Rival semi-tactical designs. You've got the back strap here, 2 separate pieces of plastic. The only paint on the blaster is, of course, the Rival logo, and this is not an N-Strike attachment. We don't know what this is. As I flip through the instructions, I don't see any suggested accessories on this, and it didn't look like there were any on the other Rival blaster coming up either. So not an N-Strike attachment point. Will be interesting to see where it goes. Definitely has the insert and quarter turn aesthetic, although there is no ball detent down here. Maybe it's just for the aesthetic. They want to harken back to, you know, the good old days when you could sell N-Strike blasters. Definitely no stock attachment point on this of any sort, but the sling point attachment here is a nice touch. Go ahead, leave me a comment down below if you remember back when Nerf sold bandoliers. I think we have some on blasterbarn.com. It was by far one of the better soft products Hasbro made back in the day. Like, it's hard to mess up a bandolier, but they were pretty solid. So solid, in fact, that in an HVZ in Savannah, Georgia, I once hung my entire body off of a bridge from a bandolier. True story. Anyway, let's plug this in, fire off a couple of rounds. It is semi-auto. It's really, you want to hold it, not for stability's sake, you want to hold it so that it doesn't quite as bad as it is, but. The spool down is pretty slow. Let's go ahead and take a look at it with some knockoff ammo and a genuine Rival magazine from yesteryear. Alrighty, so let's throw this in. Back at it like a bad habit. And it seems to like the possibly lighter weight ammo from Amazon a little bit better there, but does work with old school stick mags. I assume it will work with the 7s as well. This magazine is going to be compatible, I assume, with most modern Rival blasters and some of the old ones. Obviously, you're not going to fit that in a Zeus very easily. The banana mag aesthetic is kind of interesting, but it does maintain the rubber bumper pad on here, which is good because it's kind of an obnoxious geometry, right? Like, I can't be the only person who thinks that the kick out on here is worth, let's see, that goes in about that deep versus that deep. It's really not. They've made it so much chunkier at the base that it's not saving any space, and it is funky. However, by putting this rubber pad at a 45 here, you could set it on something without damaging the blaster or the magazine itself. Does it help when you drop the mag? I don't know. I don't think that it's gonna drop quite in that direction. But let's put it over the chronograph and see if we can get any data. Alrighty, so we're gonna get a better setup than this real soon. But right now, we've got our trusty ballistic chronograph, Rival Challenger. 65, 62, 61. 67, then 50s, then 40. I don't think that's a battery issue, but I would not be surprised if the QC on this is a little funky. I also have a switch issue here where, like, sometimes when I close this, it doesn't rev. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna take this thing apart, do some sort of mod guide, figure it out from there. Full disclosure, between takes, I went over and checked out Blaster Hub. My buddy Brian Hoffer writes over there, and he's getting normal electric Rival flywheel performance, which is about 100 FPS. That is nowhere near as good as some of the premier Rival blasters, but Rival hasn't had premier blasters in years now. We'd be pre-pandemic for that kind of action. So, a step in the right direction. A semi-auto, pretty compact, featureful primary class blaster for 35 bucks. Very reasonable in the Rival line. I guess I'm genuinely surprised that this isn't a $45, $50 primary, just because that's usually what these flagships in the Rival line, especially being targeted to ages 14 and up and having that higher power threshold, tends to cost. Also, the the BOM on these, the build of materials, is a little bit higher. There's more plastic, thicker plastic, more features. This is a real spring. Hasbro barely put screws in things now, so that's pretty sweet. And then the flywheels and motor is just a little bit more expensive on a bulkier blaster like this. However, I think that this is a serious contender. A deal at $35. If it goes on sale, a serious pickup. I would not be surprised to see this becoming a more popular platform. Same thing over on Blaster Hub has already developed a 3D printed battery door for this bad boy. So I look forward to lipoing mine and getting it up to snuff ere too long. Maybe giving it a sick sci-fi paint job while I'm at it. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the sponsor of today's video in the description box down below. I'll catch you guys next time. Much love, blast on, Drac out.
You